My name is Mike Polloway and I'm a self-employed freelance photographer.
My name's Gillian Drummond and my occupation is I'm a nurse. I work for Greater Manchester Mental Health.
My name is Peter Bainbridge. I run Salford Autism. My day job, I repair damaged building interiors for insurance companies. So that pays me enough to have time off and do the charity work.
I represent the Orthodox Jewish community in Broughton Park, Salford.
In relation to my work, I represent Greater Manchester Mental Health. That's who I work for. We're a mental health trust and I cover services in Bolton, Salford and Trafford. I work particularly with people who are living with dementia and also older people. So they're who I represent.
That's a really good question. I've long time been a supporter of the police service, and I have to say I don't always envy the sort of work that is imposed upon the service, especially GMP. So I felt that there was an opportunity for me to be involved in helping the community and GMP understand each other. So the opportunity arose and I grabbed it with both hands.
Well, I think it's quite important that a police force engages with the population and the population engages with the police force, because you are supposed to be part of us, not an occupying force. But you need a channel for information and opinions to go in both directions. And the more familiarity, the better. Part of my function as Salford Autism is advocating in a general sense for autistic people and in the wider sense with disabled people in general, just trying to get some of our issues across to the various organisations and to local authorities and things. So the Independent Advisory Group is quite a useful route for that.
I was recommended that I think that there was a keen interest to engage with someone with dementia experience, because more and more the police are coming into contact with people living with dementia, and somebody recommended me and I was contacted and I gladly volunteered.
Good question, don't know. It's more a matter of being willing to help. I get really upset with some volunteers who want to come along and tell you what they want to do. I think the people who are most help are those who just step up and say, I'm here, how can I help?
I feel I can offer the local community a voice, if you like, an opportunity to tell me, and I will pass it on to yourselves, to the GMP, how the community feels about the way GMP interacts with the community. Do they treat their complaints and grievances seriously? Do they understand the various issues that are unique to the community? And generally, do they feel they've been treated fairly and honestly?
I've worked in Salford. I'm not a local girl. I don't live in Salford. I live in Rosendale, but I've worked in Salford since 1985, so I've got a good knowledge of the area. I've been a nurse since 1985, so I guess it's bringing that knowledge of nursing and mental health care, but also the particular is the dementia awareness. Part of my role, in addition to being a nurse, is I chair the Salford Dementia Action Alliance, which is a group of businesses who are working to become dementia friendly. Greater Manchester Police is signed up to become dementia friendly. So I hope, I've only been a member for a few short months, only attending one meeting. So what I would hope is that I could support the police to look at how they become dementia friendly and provide some clinical information and advice around dementia.
Well, inevitably you need to know what our issues are. You're not psychic, and if we don't say, you're not going to be able to pick it up. But I think it's also useful in terms of filtering your messages so they're appropriate for the various populations, I suppose you call it, that I work with. Inevitably, majoring on autism, I work right across the board. So I've got Muslim clients, I've got Jewish clients, one or two Christian clients. So it's quite a range of people, but in certain ways. So their regards for authority can lead them into difficulties when they have to engage. And if I can feed in appropriate information, that can facilitate those engagements better.
I think at times, especially in periods of high tension or where something is critical on the streets, it's very easy for a police officer, especially one who doesn't really understand the particular, not peculiar, but idiosyncratic nature of the Orthodox Jewish community, can exacerbate the situation and produce results that really weren't going to happen in the first place. So, for example, a lot of the members of the community, their first language isn't English, usually Yiddish. And so if a police officer who, understandably, could be quite stressed in some circumstances, will start asking questions, it's quite possible the person doesn't understand. And that will produce a result which isn't going to be particularly a happy one. There are also times when a female officer might try to intercede or perform a duty and involves men, and the two really shouldn't interact too closely, and they probably wouldn't understand that. So really my role, I feel, is to advise police officers on how to interface with the community, the do's and don'ts involved in dealing with the community, as well as mediate on particular occasions where there is a period of high tension.
Yeah, inevitably organisations like the police have their own institutional ways of doing things, which informs the way that people tend to think. It's not that that's bad per se, it's just it happens because people have got a job to do. And let's face it, if it's kicking off, you guys don't have much time to actually be pleased and thank you all over the place. That kind of thing needs to be understood, but also it needs to be understood the other way around, how you could do certain aspects of it better. And one of the things that I'm not sure is embedded enough in police training is just simple customer services techniques. It's not a biggie, and it's not going to ruin the job, it just makes it easier.
It's hard to answer that because it's very new to me. I think the biggest barrier was when I was first asked to do it, in that I didn't know what the police independent advisory group was, so I had to do a little bit of reading around that. And I guess it's when I tell people about it, they don't also know what that is. So I think that's the biggest barrier for me, is that spreading the word about the work that's happening.
Nothing particular. I mean, some people within the community are a bit, should we say, reluctant to praise the police. They seem to feel that nothing's going to happen and there's nothing we can do that's going to improve things. So it's part of my job there to reassure them that anything they say and their opinions and grievances are taken seriously, and I will pass that on to yourselves. Yeah. Not many people realise this, but I was proudly a serving member of the British Army for a total of 37 years, both as a regular serviceman and as a territorial army officer. Not a lot of people know that.
Well, based on the fact that I've walked in on crutches, I can do the splits, and I'm a dancer in the back. I have had a past of dancing semi-professionally, so...
Well, first and foremost, I'm autistic. I am not what people expect. I've had a career, I've had a family. Most of the problems that I struggle with are invisible, and that's the big problem, because we all look at everybody else's life and think, oh, they're doing so well, they're having it so easy, and it takes a little bit of thought and a little bit of personal knowledge to understand that you're going to have problems, the guy at the end of the road's going to have problems. Everybody has their own problems, and a little bit of tolerance and patience allows the job to work a lot better.
Yeah, for the doubters about the effectiveness and the compassion expressed by the police. Only this morning, before I conducted this interview with you, I saw firsthand how the swinging cuts have affected the police service. In that there was right outside the police station, there was obviously a very vulnerable and distressed lady who needed help. She was not in a good state, and it's obvious she needed a lot of social care and probably some hospital treatment as well. It's only too obvious no social worker was available, could be available, and hoping for an ambulance to come straight away, yeah, with the cutbacks there, that she wouldn't be at the top of the priority list. However, what I did see with police officers who took taken the time to show compassion, to deal with the situation and make sure she got the attention she deserved. However, this takes up a lot of their time, and they're committed to dealing with this situation, which unfortunately takes away from perhaps more pressing and important issues to deal with. So I'm distressing myself that the cutbacks have caused this to happen. And I feel that you really need all the support that the community can give you.